Hello everyone, and I hope you can hear me loud and clear. We're here at the Varsity Lakes, and welcome to our second session. If you may recall, we looked at make a decision, have abundance in all areas of your life. And that was a big decision to make. And it's really, where are you? Where do you, so to do that, you need to look at your what I call your benchmark, which is the 7 magic things of your cash, your income, your assets that you have. And it also covers all the things such as your credit, your strategic spending. The other ones would be your superannuation and your tax position. Now, in that document, which I showed you last week, was also some goals. Where would you like to be in a year? Where would you like to be in 3 years? Why do you want to become financially independent? And a particular question I had with you guys were around, what sort of things do you need to really get through this, to really learn this material? And there's some questions like, I'm not good with tax, or I don't know how to borrow money, or I've got bad credit, or they're the sort of questions when you send them to us. I understand there's a coaching cloud that Kelvin set up here, but Alchemy at onelife.com.au is our kind of communication for this program. If you've got things you want to directly come to me with, but we're going to have this kind of a process of getting all this work together and then be able to distribute, or for me to get it and talk to you. You'll also remember that we looked at your 3 top goals. And what would they be? Whether that's, I want to become financially independent, and what does that mean? I'd like to be able to buy a property. I would like to be able to start a business. I'd like to earn so much money, 100,000 a year, whatever. Now, I'm going to introduce you to what we call our 3-year plan, and we just use as a guide. People earn more, people earn less, but it's basically designed to be coming out with $100,000 a year in the first year, $200,000 the second year, and $300,000 in the third year. We have a number of people on this plan right now, quite successfully. It starts off with $0 for the first 90 days, and we build this to a relatively small amount of money, about $2,000 a month, about $500 a week. But we take that to in another 90 days to $4,000 a month, and then we take that to $6,000, then to $8,000. So the end of the year, there's an $8,000 a month income. Now, we use a 10-month year for our calculations. Even though there's 12 months, we actually use 10 because there's only 10 months you work, because there's always Christmas and Easter and long weekends, etc. So that 10 months, we just do a multiply of 10 by 8,000 a month, gives you an $80,000 income coming out of the year. Now, hear this, it's coming out of the year. You don't earn $80,000 in the first year, because you start off with 0, then you only went to 2,000, then 4,000, 6 and 8. However, you come out of that new year, the second year, earning an $80,000 income, plus we do one real estate transaction, a little flip, we call it, or a little transition of a property. It's like a renovation or a makeover. And we look at $25,000, $50,000 in income in that. So we take the lower number more conservatively, 25,000 plus the 80, there's $105,000 worth of income. Now, this is extra money, you understand. This is not your working money. This is extra money on your normal job, assuming you have one, or a business, whatever. So that's our goal. I've never met a person to do exactly those numbers. I've met lots of people, and a lot of them would tend to, what I would regard as, get either more or less of that, but along those lines. So that's our plan. And I'd love you to be part of that in this whole process. Tonight, however, we're moving on. Where do you want to go? Now, making a decision, where am I, is really the first step. Where am I is, this is where I am. This is the reality of where I am. Tonight is, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? Now, we use that example I've just completed, which is a 3-year plan. You would have some plans where you want to go that are bigger than 3 years. You'd have some plans that also would be shorter than that. And we call it a 7-year plan for our where do I want to go? And I'd like you to get to the state, and you can play this again if you wish, but if you can imagine 7 years from now, how old you are in 7 years. And it's not hard math, it just says add 7 years to your current life. And if you want to close your eyes as you think about this, I hope you're not driving while you're doing this, but assuming you're at home, just close your eyes and just imagine 7 years from now, how old would you be? And if this all worked out exactly the way you want it to work out, where would you wake up 7 years from now? Would you be by the sea? Would you be in the country? Would you be in another city? Would you be in the city? Would you have two properties? Would you have a country place and a city place? If it all worked out exactly what you wanted, where would you be? And here's a discerning question, I guess. Who would you wake up with? Now, what does that mean? Well, you might already be in a relationship or not. So it could be a bit like Back to the Future, where you can't actually see the face of the person if you're not in a relationship. But if you're in my life, I can see myself waking up exactly with my beautiful Katrina, and that will be who I wake up with. There's no discussion about that. And I would also take the next step of this conversation to say, and would my mum and dad be still alive? Well, my mum and dad both passed away some time ago. But for you, it might be that they are or they're not. And do you have brothers and sisters, and how old would they be? Add 7 years to their life. And if you've got children, how old would they be? And it's quite a job. So I want you to just imagine now, just take a moment, take a deep breath in, and imagine your family. Imagine who they are. Imagine how old they are 7 years from now. And if you've got maybe even children that aren't born yet, but you have plans to get married in the next year or two, or you may want to start a family in the next year or two after that. So some of your children may be 2 or 3 or 1 or something. So I want you to imagine that. And I actually want you to take some time out in this next week to draw a picture of that. Just, you don't have to be a great artist, but take some time. You can do it while you're watching TV if you want. You can do it anywhere you want, but I'd get some magic colors. I'd get some really powerful, passionate colors, and I'd just do an A3, A4, and it could be like a little mixture of things. It could be what you saw when you woke up, or it could be a helicopter view of what you would see, a farm and dogs and cats and children and horses, or whatever, if that was the vision. Or it could be a whole lot of different drawings that would actually, like a mosaic, if you will, of what it would be like with everything in this picture. And my pictures of planes and travel and property and family, and you're doing presentations or whatever that is. And I'm going to recommend you put this picture up on the wall, because one of the most important single things we have as a puller to our future is what we believe we want. And I'd be bold with what we write here and what we draw. Put lots of color in, and don't be worried about anyone else. Put it in your bedroom or put it in your bathroom. I had a lady, she got it laminated and she put it in the shower, and she looked at it every day. And I can assure you, every single thing that she put on there, she achieved a lot quicker than 7 years. So let your heart be the driver for that. We have a 7-year plan, which is also a thing called begin with the end in mind. And that's what I just took you on there. Begin with the end in mind. If this all worked out, where would you wake up? Who would you wake up with? What would be happening? If you imagine, if you're by the sea, if that's where you wanted to be, and the phone rang and it was the bank saying that their bank is too small for your account now, that you have to move the account because they can't look after all the money. Or on the dresser was the tickets for your trip to Paris, and downstairs you could see there was the keys for the beautiful car that you had. Whatever it is that you want, and describe that day. And it begins with "I'm so happy," not in future tense but present tense, as if it's true today. In our programs, we call it page 30. We call it the page that actually determines your life, what it's going to be like. And we get people to do this every year, not just for 7 years, but for every year. And this is a goal-setting process. And armed with that, we then move into our 3-year plan. What would we, if that was 7 years, we go backwards and go, okay, for instance, say we had a block of 14 units as an example in 7 years. Well, how many would we have in 6? You know, we'd have 12. And how many would we have in 5 years? Well, we'd have 10 units. And how many would we have in 4 years? Well, we'd have 8 units. And in 3 years, we'd have 6. And in 2 years, we'd have 4 units. And in our first year, we'd have 1 or 2. Can you see how it kind of grows? It's when you often think about these things and try and start, when you begin with the first year, all you see is obstacles, how you can't do anything. If you take this on and take the year as it ends 7 years from now and stand in that place looking backwards, you see no obstacles. And this is a very important process, because when you're in the place of ownership, you've tricked your mind into moving forward to what you really want. It's a very simple process. And then you can work backwards. And that's what we do. We call it begin with the end in mind. You've probably heard that many times, but that's the actual application of these things. There's one thing to kind of know stuff like this, but not to do it, not to actually do the drawing, not to actually do your 7-year plan, or for that matter, even a 3-year plan. Now, some of you are blocked here in this too, and I hear this all the time. And if you want, you can just write to me at alchemy@onelife.com, and I'll send you the goal setting machine that I call it, the DVD on how to set goals. And I'll give you a clue on one of the things we do, and one of the things we teach is for people who can't set goals, is we get them to think of what they don't want. And they usually can really write that down very clearly. In fact, I have people when I ask the question, what do you want in your goals? And they'll say, I'll tell you what I want. I don't want to work this hard. So I say, yes, you're telling me what you don't want. What do you really want? And they say, I'm telling you what I want. I don't want all this debt. And then I say to them, yeah, you're telling me about what you don't want, debt, but you're not telling me what you want. I'm telling you what I want. I don't want this terrible relationship I've got. And they go on and on. So all they're doing is telling me what they don't want. So if that's, and a lot of people are there, so make a big list of what you don't want. And the reverse is what you do want. They become your goals. So if you don't want a lot of debt, what you're looking for is abundance. You're looking for being able to have a redraw facility on a property that you own outright. So you have good debt. If you don't want a horrible relationship, then you're looking for a beautiful, authentic, open, loving relationship. And if you, whatever the other thing is, you don't, just reverse it. It's very simple. People have trouble writing down a reverse goal on giving up smoking, because they'll write down stuff like, I want to stop smoking. Now, there's a clue here in all goals that the mind, as we have it in our third dimensional world, tends to only have one thing, and that is the ability to know the word, not the negative word, only the word. So if you say, I don't want any debt, all it hears is debt. For instance, if I say to you, I don't want you to think about a pink elephant. Do not see a pink elephant with blue water coming out of its trunk. Under no circumstances. Definitely do not see a pink elephant. I suspect for most of you, you'll get the experience of a pink elephant with blue water, even though I've said not to do that. And I've said under no circumstances, because the mind doesn't hear not, no circumstances, don't, never hears any negative word, it only hears the word. So when you say, I want to give up smoking, it only hears smoking. So they say, oh, you want smoking? We'll give you lots of that. Or I want to end all my debt, or I want to be out of debt. All they hear is debt. So in goal setting, you've got to write it in a positive way. And I know you know this, but I want to just pick you up on it. Some people don't. So you'd write, I want abundance in all areas of my life. I want, if you want to lose weight, you don't ever lose weight. You want to say specifically what you want to weigh. If you're 100 kilos and you want to lose 2 kilos in a month, which is quite reasonable, then you're right. I'm so happy. I'm 98 kilos of sexy, beautiful, heartfelt person that I am. Now, what the mind will see and what the mind will produce is a 98 kilo person. And next month you say, I'm so happy. I'm 76 kilos. You're not losing any weight, you're staying what you want to be. And it's the same thing as I want to earn this much income. And you're very specific about what that is. And in our goal cards, and Claire's going to give me a goal card so I can show you what they look like. In our goal cards, we show people how to be smarties, and you've heard this, I'm sure, plenty of times. So we call them specific, measurable, attainable, realistic. And attainable, realistic is a very important word. Is it attainable, realistic for you? We have it with our making sure we're, oh geez, I've even forgot my T. Not transparent, I've lost my thought here. There, I'll come back to my T in a minute, but inspirational, emotional, leading to success. That's the word. Tangible, how could I forget? Tangible. So what's a tangible goal? Tangible goals are goals that you can really feel or hold. You cannot set a goal that's a non-tangible goal. For instance, you can't have a goal for being more loving. You can have a goal for a car, you can have a goal for money, you can have a goal for a house, you can have a goal, they're tangible items. An intangible goal is like loving. So you've got to turn it into a tangible thing. So what's a loving person? Well, for me, to be a good dad, would be something I wanted to be, so a loving, good dad. So how does that show up? As I put it into a tangible goal to say, I take my children to the park every Sunday and we feed the ducks. And I spend time with them. So that's a tangible aspect of being a good dad. You cannot set a goal for somebody else. So it can't be, I'm setting a goal here that I'm going to meet Mr. Right or Miss Right or whatever. What you need to do is set a goal who you need to become to have this goal, have that person shop for you. So you say, I'm so happy that I am this beautiful, caring, open-hearted person who's inviting my lover into my life, or whatever that goal is. And how that shows up is, I make myself available, and I dress appropriately in my gorgeous clothes, and I'm trim, taut, and terrific, succulent, sexy woman that I am, or man, whatever. So specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, tangible, sorry about that, inspirational, emotional, leading to success. Now this is the goal card, and it looks like this. And as you can see, it's got that on the front. And you'll notice here on the front, and I'm now showing you the most handsome man in the world on the back. If you're not making the progress you'd like to make and are capable of making, it's simply because your goals are not because your goals are not clearly defined. I'll read it again. If you're not making the progress you would like and are capable of making, it is simply because your goals are not clearly defined. So there's a definition of that: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, tangible, emotional, leading to success. And on here it says, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. What's a worthy ideal? An idea that you've fallen in love with. And it's a progressive realization. It's not something that happens before you start. It is a journey, not a goal. And as you saw on the back, and you probably read this, the reason so many people fail to achieve their goals in life is they never set them in the first place. And it says our mission here, which is our mission to make a positive financial difference to our clients over the medium to long term and help bring balance to their life. Now, if we open this goal card up, there's a really great little drawing here. Now, we will have this for you as an app in time, so you'll be able to download this. We'd like you to trial this as it is right now. And Claire, can you actually put this on the screen? Is that possible? No, you can't. Okay, so you'll notice if I had another card, I can read and show you this at the same time rather than turn it over. But you'll notice at the top, my number one goal. And the reason that's there is actually to put it in as your number one goal. And you need a fine pen to put your number one goal in place. And you take your time to make that the one that you think is the most important. And the instructions for what to do with this are very, very simple, nothing complicated. And on the top it just says here, note, use your 1 to 31 card to develop success habits, remember balance in your life. And it's got family, health, financial, and the like there, which is career goals, and intellectual, social, and spiritual. And there are the instructions just underneath that. I'll try and hold that as still as I can. It says, list your goals in the first person and present tense in the space provided, then tick the box each day when you've read them. How simple is that? And there's a big smiley face, and when you see the smiley face, always smile. And it says, my number one goal for the next 31 days is I'm so happy I am or have, and you cross out the one you want. And then here is the goal of goals. This is the law of laws on goals. I read my 1 to 31 card each day, and all my goals are Smarties. Now that goal needs to be read. Why is that goal there? It is when the beautiful genie appears with the lamp out of the lamp and says, Master, you have 3 wishes. What's your first wish? 1,000 wishes. And this is the genie's goal. It says, I'm reading my goal card every day, and all my goals are Smarties. So you're actually reading a goal of goals. So it's setting you up to get a habit, a way of being with this. Now you notice underneath this, it's got health, family, and it says, I'm so happy. And there's little numbers there, 1, 2, 3. All those numbers, you just tick the box. All you need to do is tick the box. That's all you have to do. Read it, tick the box. Everything else will take care of itself. And particularly as long as they're Smarties. And try and fill them up. Initially, you might find trouble with that, but in time, you'll get them all done. Couple of quick things. Obviously, financial, business, intellectual goals. What does that mean? An intellectual goal is a goal where you might be, I'm going to read a book every day, or read a page, or read a book a month, or something like that. Or I'm going to get better with my computer. Social goals, some of you don't need any help on that one, but there's social responsible goals where you're giving to others. And spiritual goals doesn't mean to say you go to church, but you could. It could also just mean I meditate every day. And that could be a really powerful goal for you, and of contribution. So I'll take that away and you'll get that. So you can download this. We'll send them to you if you wish. And we'll send that as part of your plan. Now, in time, we're not going to do this yet, but here are the biggies that you'll get later. This is for those people who send me their goals. This is very powerful, very, very powerful. All together go, whoa. Whoa. And these are your mission and your questions for preparing your prioritization, your time management goals, your goals for your company, personal life goals, unifying principles, unassigned goal list, and of course your page 30, which we we're just talking about. So this is all about where I want to go. Now, in my time with you, my job is to help you get your goals, not my goals, but your goals. So it's a process, and you will need a formula. And last time we were together, I promised you I'd tell you the formula, and I didn't. So I apologize for not doing that. The formula of wealth. And a lot of people haven't been told this formula, even though they've gone to school. Some have gone to university and don't know the formula of wealth. So I'm just wondering, for those of you who do, you can send it to me and have a think. But have a real serious think. Has anyone ever given you the formula of wealth? Has your multi-million-dollar father or mother shared that with you? Has any of your bosses shared that with them? Yet most people I find haven't got the formula. And my other big thing with this is everybody that I know that's successful knows the formula of wealth. Everybody. And I know they know it because of how they act. And I also know that they know it either consciously or unconsciously. And I'm just going to write this formula down. And it's a very simple formula, so you can see it and you can remember it. But I'm just wondering, does anyone know what that formula is? In fact, here's the thing, if you can send it to me, and I've got this date dealt with in this time, so you can email me right now at alchemy at onelife.com.au. If you can send me this formula, I'm going to send you a book. Any of our books, whether it could be Self-Power with Deepak Chopra, which I'm going to be talking with you guys. The book on The One Thing, it's a very good book. We've got a pile of books. We've got hundreds of very, very good books. If you know this formula, I'm going to come back to this, so I'll give you enough time to write to me. and we have the timing. We know exactly when you did it, and you'll need to do it the next few minutes. It's a formula of wealth. What does that formula look like? If you can do it, we'll send you a book. Now, while you're thinking about that, I want to talk also about how long you're going to live. You might say, "Roy, what are you talking about that for?" Well, the truth is that you already know how long you're going to live for because you've already thought about that. Most people already know how old they're going to be when they die. And because of your unconsciousness, you send a signal out, and most people die at what they think they're going to die at. And based on your age, based on your family, based on your history, people say, "Oh, I'm going to die at about 70, or I'll die when I'm 80, or some will say I'm going to go till 90, but I'm going to be all crippled." And some people like Elvis Presley, his mother, who he loved, died when she was 40. She was a very young woman. And he loved his mother so much. And Elvis was quite a success at that time. And he was noted to say, as he stood by the grave of his mother, he was in tears and very upset. He said, "She's such a young woman." And he was crying. He said, "She's only 40. He said, "I'm going to die when I'm 40. And it was interesting. He died when he was 40. And he killed himself with drugs and eating terrible things and stuff. Now, that's a well-known piece of information. But I want you to think about your father and your mother and how old they are and their grandfathers and stuff like that. So you've already got an age. So write that down, whatever that is. And you might be going, "Well, why are we doing this?" Well, it's our plan. And you're going to be whatever age you're going to be, so we'll plan for it. And it's a good thing to enjoy. You're on this planet for a moment, so enjoy it. Now, I'm going to die when I'm 100. I've already decided that, and I'm working towards that. And one of my goals is that it'll be a very healthy death, insofar as I'm going to be fit and strong right up to that. And I was just talking to some team here just today about my exercise program and how I basically work out pretty well every day. And nothing that strenuous, but each time's a bit more than before. And I take oxygen when I do my step-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, or anything else. I do weights. I do kind of shuffle jogs kind of thing. I don't do big running. I do a lot of different things, but it's all about flexibility, and particularly it's about mobility. I know people my age who are in wheelchairs, and I know people who are dead my age. I also know people who at 40 and 50 years old aren't in good shape. So your health is going to be very important. In this whole process that we're going to be working with your money, we're dealing with your other areas as well, because there's nothing worse than having all the money in the world and being sick. I know Kelvin's got some really great plans on this, and there's plenty of coaches, and you have a coach to help you with this in another program. But I'm only including it into our program of wealth, because health and wealth, healthy, wealthy, and wise, you want to be all of those things, and abundance in all areas of your life. So that's very important. Now, I don't know how you've gone with your wealth formula, but I've got mine here for you. So if you've written it down, if you haven't written it down, I'll give you another 2 minutes just to write it down so you can't cheat. I also want to just talk a little bit about our program moving forward in this alchemy area. In our next session, next week, we'll be talking about strategic spending. And I don't want to give you much on it other than to be how to strategically spend. And we have a system for this. It's about 12 months in advance. You already know what your expenses are going to be pretty well. If you've got a lease or a mortgage, or you've got a car and you've got payments, or a mobile phone, or you pay electricity, and you can change some of these things, but a lot of the things are set for you, even your food and things like that. So most people use their strategic spending plan, which is a shock, because they think, I can't work out what's going to happen in the year. Well, you can, because you've already set it up that way, and you can curb it. What's important is to know what you do spend. More importantly, however, is set a goal for what you're going to earn. Now, I look at a 20% increase for anyone's income as a pretty standard thing to do. And I might add, if you do 20% every year in less than 3.6 years, you will double your income. Now, I know people who are doing 20% increase every month. I also know people doing it every quarter. But to do it every year is very simple. I have a client who was, when they came to me, they were doing about $10,000 a month in income, and they thought they were doing pretty good, and they are. Currently, they're doing $30,000 a week. That's a big increase. It took about 3 years to get to that, from $10,000 a month to $30,000 a week. This is basically net income, not gross, net. And when I say net, I'm talking net of expenses, except tax. There is tax involved in that. So that strategic spending is a very important part. Now, that will be covering next week, so understand that'll be clear. And it will be dangerous for you to have a look at that, because some of you will be in shock. Some of you are spending more than you earned. Some of you are spending all you earn, and in fact 95% do that. And I'm just noticing there's a note here from Eleni, and it's got here, we sent our work to One Life email. Sorry, we weren't sure. And that's okay. We'll get that from you anyway. That's cool. Won't go missing, but please look out. If you've sent something from us within 24 hours, you should be get an acknowledgement from us that we've got it. And if we haven't, you haven't got that, you'll find our system might be down or something, or it's bounced back. If you make our emails acceptable to not spam, it really helps as well. With strategic spending, there's another clue I want to share with you for next week, and that is that if you can't deal with your personal life strategically, that is running you as an individual or as a family, and project your year's income and your year's expenses and see whether you're actually saving money and building your wealth account, which I'll be dealing with also in the next week or so, then how are you going to run a business? If you can't run things personally, how could you ever run a business? And it's interesting how people jump across that one and they kind of want to get to second base, third base, haven't been to first yet. In fact, they got struck out before they even hit the ball in baseball. We have a thing called first base, second base, third base, home. And you need to be in state to hit the ball, and you need to get to first base before you get to second. So one of the things about being in state is to have that process in place, because you'll need to have your strategic spending, you'll need your wealth account, your 7-year plan, and your goals program before you even hit the ball. So otherwise you'll get struck out pretty quick. And we're here for a home run for this game. That's our game, home run, win-win plan. So that's what you're looking forward to, strategic spending. So how'd you go with your wealth formula? So I'm going to show it to you. Are you ready? This can change your life. If you really understand this, as I said, all the people I know that are successful, either consciously or unconsciously, know this formula. That would include Sir Richard Branson, Oprah, whoever you want, they know this formula. And this is the formula. Wealth is value times leverage plus conscious control. Wealth is whatever you have as your net assets, or whatever you've got, that's what wealth is. And when we talk about wealth, we really include the area of your health and abundance. We include your family, we include everything. But from a financial point of view, and I'm here about money, then we're talking about true assets. Wealth is value times leverage plus conscious control. Now, what does value mean? Well, you have to add value to everything you do. Now, if you've got a job and a JOB and you're working for someone, then you add value by your resume. You do courses and things and you get a better job. Unfortunately, it's pretty limited because jobs are terminal, and you'll never get wealthy with a job. Ultimately, you'll need your own business, you'll need property, you'll need many other things. But mostly, you'll need to leverage that. Now, if you watch Kelvin, Tim, you watch any successful person, they're adding value all the time in everything they do, and they leverage that value. Now, how do they leverage value? Well, if you even take tonight, I'm leveraging my value by having a webinar. So hundreds of people probably watching this right now. So I'm giving it out once, but 100 people watch. So it's the same information. It's like my book, $1 to $1 Million in 7 years or less. That's got 50,000 copies out published now. It's in schools and libraries, huge. And then what is conscious control? Well, conscious control means you don't give your money to someone living in Nigeria. You don't give it to someone to look after. Conscious control means you control your money. Now, does that mean that you can't give AMP your money or Westpac or something? Well, you can, but there's a limited result in that. They're in control of your money. They're doing the investments unless you're overriding that with your information. So let's use some examples of this. I don't think I need to hold this up anymore. Wealth is value times leverage plus conscious control. Let's use an example. Take a property transaction. We trade properties all the time. We firstly, we add value to the property by buying it under the market. We make our profit on the purchase. All profit is on the purchase. And 20% of the properties are sold above the market, 60% are sold at the market, and about 20% are sold below the market. How does that happen? Well, 20% are sold above because people outbid each other trying to buy things, and they want it better than the other at the auction, and they pay too much. And I'm sure you've been to an auction, you've seen that, or you've seen people doing that, even private treaty purchases, in other words, non-auction, private negotiations. Agents are good at stirring people up, saying we have an offer at this, or they'll even say, oh, that price was already refused by the vendor. Very common statement. And 60% will buy at market, in other words, around the market. You'll see it in shops, in retail. People will pay for something just released. They'll pay above market price for premium to have it first up, a gadget or even some clothing item or from a specific type of shop. And then people kind of get onto it and the price comes down a bit, or they negotiate and they buy it at market, which is the market's right, it's always right, even when it's wrong. RP data we use as a guide for that when we're doing our property transactions. We buy this wholesale from them and we give it to our clients wholesale. And then there's this 20% of the market that buys under the market. And you'll see it in retail, a pair of boots, $200, $500, discounted 70%, 50%, whatever. So obviously you're buying it under the market if you really understand the market. In a property transaction, as that example, in real value under the market, you've added enormous value. Where you've got mortgage in possession, you've got people, deceased estates, you've got divorce, you've got all sorts of things happening, and people want to get rid of properties, and they need repair, or they just presented very poorly, and there's not much interest in that particular property. There's a whole lot of skills we teach in our programs how to do this. For instance, how we position ourselves in the marketplace. We never go to where all the crowd is going. You don't want to be competing against lots of people. So we go to specific markets, which are a specific price, which cut out a lot of the first home buyers, but not the highly expensive areas. There's just some skills. We'll talk more about that later. So we're able to negotiate and buy a building, a property under the market. Now, if you're looking at say a $600,000-$700,000 property and you get 20% below the market, it's $120,000, $140,000 profit before you start. Now, you buy a shirt for $100 and you get 20% off, you save $20. If you get $120,000, $140,000, can you buy some shirts? You sure can. So this is called majoring in the majors, not majoring in the minors. So that's what value added is. Value added, and you can do it in businesses. We add it all the way through. In our market positions, we add value. So there's many examples. So I think you get the message on that. Leveraging that. Well, I'll probably give you an example, even the property that we use very small amounts of money, like $1,000 to take an option on a property, to control a property for $600,000. So there's massive leverage with $1,000 to buy some time to negotiate a transaction. That's massive. That's a 600 times multiplier. That's what leverage is. And leverage, if you look at it on a drawing of leverage, we think of it as a position, if you like, of the lever. And in this case, we're pushing down with $1, but we're lifting $1 million. So that's kind of this drawing. So we're pushing down on $1, but pushing up $1 million. And you know where the fulcrum is, right here. So in this case, you are the fulcrum on leverage. You are leveraging your money, your time, your life. So that's what leverage is. And I'll be talking more about this process because this formula applies to every single thing that you're doing. And I think we've already talked about conscious control. Now, in conscious control, I'm always working with somebody to really stand away and watch and become the witness to the game so they can play the game. When you're in the game, you can very rarely play the game. Everyone that I talk to is always in a box. I'm in my own box. To get out of your box is very difficult when you're in it because you can't see the instructions because they're clearly written on top of the box. When you're out of the box, you will see the instructions clearly. And I'm sure you've already got out of certain boxes on this process, but you've now stepped into another box. Where are the instructions? Clearly written on top. When you're out, you'll see it. So you do it by what we call witness. And he said on the plains of Galilee, be of this world, not in this world. What did he mean? Be of this world, not in this world. Be the witness to the game, be of the world, not in it, because if you're in it, you won't see it. In consciousness, you won't understand it. So in your money, if you're in the game, you won't understand the game. You've got to be watching the game. I think the Americans always sum it up in poker, and they call the person who can't play the patsy, the one who's losing. He's the one who's the loser. And they say, if you're in a game of poker and within 20 minutes you don't know who the patsy is, you're the patsy. And they're playing you. So unfortunately, this is the game of life. And you don't want to be the patsy. And not that I'm wanting you to be harsh on people. We don't play lose-win games. We don't play win-lose, and we don't play lose-lose. The only game of life is to play win-win. And to do that, you've got to understand the rules of the game, and we'll be doing more of this as we go through it. So I think I'm into about 2 minutes left, and I want to stick to our time pretty closely. So your homework, goals, goal card, getting this filled in. We'll send you a process through our cloud thing so you can get that, and I want you to send it to me. Basically, what we really want to do is what do you want, and the 7-year plan and your 3-year plan. I'll also connect you up when you send it with my 3-year plan. Now, this is a document, got a few pages to it, and it covers each year what needs to happen step by step. And I'll be going through this process with you as well next week, the 3-year plan. So my intention is that you go through this with yourself, so you have a bit of a go at that. So there we are. You can ask questions here on this, and you can put in some best things if you want. I'm always grateful to be on this calls with this program, this Alchemy program with our One Life, and our coaches will be on with you. Our Alchemy One Life coaches will be calling you up based on you sending this information in. So it's really in your court. Send it in, and I will check in with you, and they'll be covering things like, you know, the getting you ready for the strategic spending. They'll be getting you ready for a wealth account, which we'll be covering in more detail on week 4, and they'll be covering the benchmark as well. So thank you so much for your time. remember to stay focused and live intentionally. Live with abundance in all areas of your life. Ryan McDonald signing off on the One Life team. Thanks so much.